Everyone, and welcome to the AOR PS4 F1 Championship. And for one final time, we'll be watching these drivers go round, and we have got ourselves 15 guys here to compete. Lost the championship last time out. Disappointing for him, that was. In fact, Synthetic ended up being the new champion of season 15, and he will hopefully be defending his title next season. Dom won it last time out successfully and in a dominating fashion, but he is not here today. Last time out in season 14 round this track, it was Kari, who's now moved over to the PC platform to do his trade. He was on top in a wet qualifying, and if you look out on track, you can see the clouds are kind of a little bit grey. A very overcast day here in Brazil, at one of these classic tracks with some fantastic corners and some great overtaking opportunities. In the past, in real Formula 1 and in AOR, this has produced some fantastic racing, and I for one am very, very excited. I am solo today. No Joe, no Cameron, no Ali or Liam Evil Dragon. It will just be me, so for the next, I'd say, around about hour, around about an hour, you'll be listening to me and me alone. Before we do get started though, I do want to quickly mention one thing, and that is that King Kodiak, the guy who runs a fantastic job, and he recently put out a post on his YouTube and social media platforms and whatnot about promoting the fact that he wants to continue doing this, but he is struggling financially. So if you do want to help support someone who has been fantastically influential in getting me here in this situation, and other people, bringing over some great commentators, the likes of Ginger Andy, who is absolutely fantastic, a friend of mine as well over on Xbox. Kodiak is the PC commentator. I would not recommend going over to that screen right now. I'd stay here if I was you for a good bit of racing. There is a championship decider over on PC. But speaking of Kodiak, as I said, if you would like to help him out by donating to his Patreon and helping him out in any way, shape or form to keep pursuing his dream, I know if I was in this situation, I would want people to help him out. So yeah, if you are interested in helping him out, then please go over to his Twitter and socials or over on the PC side and just get in contact and see how you can help him out in any way, shape or form. So we've been on board with Michael as he's completed a lap round here. It does look kind of grey. I'm going to get on board with some of the coordinators quickly and see if they have any information for me about what the weather conditions are looking like going forward. Michael is the first man to come across at 1 minute 8.4. It's an 8.7 but over the King, and 8.4 is actually a very competitive lap from Michael. There is a few guys now come across. Cass, one of them, he's come across the line. Tim Palm's just started a lap. Falcon coming through the final few corners. We'll stay on with him as Curly does a 1 minute 9.2. The quickest time I think overall from last season around here, the only time really that was in the dry for PS4 of course was rainy, was a 1 minute 8.173 from Carl Mr. Hamilton over on the PC. NLR Evo was the fastest man on Xbox for 1 minute 8.382. So a good time there from Michael, a few tenths shy of the quickest from last season. I dare say there'll be some rapid times put in around here as well. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on what these guys do, but 1 minute 8.4, the first time set, is actually the quickest time so far of this session from Michael. Clarkey in 5th, Pasty in 6th, Falcon 7th, Cass is 8th, Keans in 9th, Curly Whirly 11th, and Synthetic, the current champion, the man who's on his victory parade almost around here today for this weekend of racing, will definitely be enjoying himself. He's done it one round earlier. Now with the fact that obviously we knew Ollie wasn't, Synthetic's actually gone wide there, so a little bit of understeer from him. He just moved out the way. I think he may have moved out the way there for the car going by, which I think may have been, I don't think it was Flores, he's just moving out the way. There goes our Super Scrub. I wasn't too sure, it might have been the Eagle Killer actually, who he's moved out the way from there. So we'll keep an eye on the Eagle Killer, who's coming through these final sets of corners. One of the classic tracks is mentioned, this one. I personally absolutely love it. One of the most iconic moments in Formula 1 history, probably the most iconic championship win in F1 history, obviously in 2008 when Lewis Hamilton scampered the dreams of the Brazilians on the podium, won his first ever Formula 1 World Championship for British fans. It was a fantastic moment in F1 history. The Eagle Killer comes across the line and goes 7th. If you're a Ferrari fan, maybe not so joyous, especially if you're a Brazilian Ferrari fan. Probably the most upsetting day in Formula 1 history, maybe for you. If you're a Brazilian, maybe just after Ayrton sadly passing. The Brazilians though are due a champion and a very competitive driver. Sadly at the moment doesn't look like we have one coming in the near future in Formula 1. Maybe Sergio Sette Camara would be be one up there. Yeah, Brazil needs to start producing some talent, I'd say, in Formula 1. Synthetic has come into the pit, so he aborted his lap. He's come into the pits and has decided that he wants to go, probably go out early, maybe getting 2 runs, I'd say. That would be my prediction for the man who is obviously the champion, trying to wrap up the Constructors' Championship. We also have another battle going on here in the AOR, in AOR PS4 F1, and that is the battle for the battle of the rest of the pack. You would say. I spoke to Curly Whirly, one of the coordinators, and he has mentioned how it's 3 points between himself and Nardi in the championship. Clarky and Chicken are battling for P7 in the championship, just 4 points between them, with Floris, Dom, Cass and Gemzo all quite close as well. So the championship standings could really mix up as well. I've been given information that we have a wet start to the race, but drying up as it goes on. The optimum strategy, 2 stop on dry conditions, would have been the one. But we will be interested to see what happens around here. Obviously in previous seasons and in other races we've seen wet conditions not really dry out at all, which has caused a few problems for some of the drivers, and it's very questionable as to when you're going to come into the pits to pit for the dry tyres. Hopefully we have go for. Cass now is about to start his lap in the Haas as he comes down into turn 1, the iconic turn 1. An overtaking opportunity potentially for many of these guys, but the most important one really is going to be going down here as you come down this long swooping left-hander. If you get perfect traction like Max Verstappen did in 2016, you can go around the outside or the inside. And late braking around about the 100-metre board, just after it you want to get brakes nice and early. Not really the sharpest braking zone in Formula 1, but one of the sharpest around here. Now going uphill where Hamilton lost control in 2007, it's a long right-hander uphill. You're blind as you come over the crest. Onto the exit there, the Ferrari moves out nicely for him. He'll come through now this long downward left-hander, a teaspoon-like corner as it goes down and dips back up. The elevation changes, can test driver's abilities and can definitely push the tyres. Some of the highest tyre wear around here, and one of the only opportunities for a 2-stop naturally if it was dry conditions. Now the left-handed where obviously Hamilton got past and won his championship, an iconic corner for that reason. As he comes up through the most power-heavy part of the track, the start-finish straight that isn't really a straight with a couple of left corners here. As he comes through for the final time, he's going to come across the line. Can Cass improve on P11 at 1:09? He now sets the time of 1:08.8. Not good enough at the moment for him. 4 tenths off the lead. Looks like Cass is going to be settling further down the field. Anyone else coming? Here comes Tim Palm on the Red Bull. Is this a lap or is he going to be setting? And yeah, he's just about to start a lap now. So we'll keep an eye on anyone who is on a lap over the kinks on an out lap. Falcon is in the pit. Nardi's coming through now with my Super Scrub ahead of him. I think he's on a warm-up lap, so we'll be interested to see if he backs off over the pink. Doesn't look like he's on a quick lap at the moment. I'd be shocked if he was. He may well be. He's not backing off over the pink. No, he peels into the pit, so that's why he's decided to not back off. Clarky coming through the final corner now. It looks like he's going to be just ramping up now as he comes across to start his lap. Doesn't look like an improvement. No, he's starting his lap now. So Tim Palm looks to be the first man unless Floris on a lap. Super Scrub has just started one as well. Synthetic's not come out yet. He's leaving it very late, which is surprising for him. Normally he likes to get a safe lap in. But Floris now is coming across the line. He's set a good line through there. Can he improve? No, he's just starting a lap. So it's difficult to tell who's on quick laps at the moment. I do know Super Scrub is probably going to be on a lap there as he extends the corner. That's going to hinder him out of the final corner. Out of the corner there. It's going to give him a wavy rear end as Michael improves on a 1:08.2, a fantastic time there. Looks like Michael's going to be going pole. Super Scrub looks to have backed off. He's all over the place there, so Super Scrub is really struggling to up his game at the moment. Maybe he has some front wing damage because he is really lacking downforce. Other people, looks like Floris, he's on a lap. Tim Palm as well. Tim Palm a very quick guy on his day, but P11 is not good enough for him at the moment. He will definitely be looking to improve upon that time. You can see ahead of him there's a gaggle of cars that are starting to form, causing a bit of traffic ahead of him as he exits the corner. The Ferrari of Michael, I think that is going to have to move out of his way. It was Michael indeed. He's now going to go up this long right-hander, and yeah, he should be on for a good lap. So as we mentioned previously, Synthetic is the current champion, and he'll be looking to defend his first race as champion in style. Now, quickly when they mention the quality, I'm imagining people will get annoyed with it. This is obviously a temporary matter. Normally Ali or Joe would stream, but I'm having to step in at this point, sadly. But we will be looking to improve that. The internet is going to be upgraded here, so there will be less potato and more caviar hopefully on the streaming side of things. And welcome to people in the chat. Davidos and Ollie. Ollie obviously will be gutted, just completed a 24-hour karting event. Congratulations to him. That was a fantastic showing from him. So yeah, we'll keep a quick eye. Apologies for that, I just had to quickly go and move into a party there just to make sure I didn't hinder any of the drivers in the things. I forgot I didn't move into a party there. But as I was saying, Ollie just completed a 24-hour karting race. He's done a very good job. Congratulations to him and his brother, who both took part. Ollie's currently watching it from a premiere in. He's living the dream, living it in style. But yeah, congratulations to him. I hope he had fun, and you know, he didn't really need to be here. He's lost his championship. It doesn't need to rub salt into the wound. But yeah. So Michael on pole at the moment. He's coming to the pits. No more times from him. Falcon, his VGIA teammate, not really teammate, but he is in second, 1 minute 8.3. Doesn't look like anyone else is going to be improving at this point. We'll keep an eye on Synthetic, who is obviously not set the time. Keen's retired after only being 13th. I Superstar 1 minute 16.2. Synthetic a 1 minute 11.5. Very strange there. On a set of soft compound tyres, looks like Kean lost control of the car. So Synthetic starting 14th, maybe challenging himself at the start of this new reign of his. Interesting to see though. Tim Palmer's retired. He moved to 4th. We said he was better than what he's currently putting in, and he's done a good job there. Flores coming through the long right-hander. And you'd expect Flores, somebody who is very inconsistent, and by many drivers say he's reckless at times. Him and Nardi both have a similar reputation in that regard, but a very quick driver on his day as well, which he has proven countless times in AOR and other. Just see there losing the rear end. I'm interested to see what Flores does. I've spoken to him a few times privately, and he has said he's made silly mistakes. I think he understands that he has got the genuine pace, and he does need to up his game. Obviously, a really talented guy. Got into the esports event, into the top 40. It's just let him down slightly. His racecraft sometimes. But if he refines that, he could be one of the best guys. Currently in 12th, he comes across the line. The tightest line can only go P12. He does improve, I believe. No, he doesn't improve. But that seems to be it. No more guys to go. So VGI Michael will be the first man on the grid here, with Nardi in second in his pursuit of the battle with Curly. Falcon in third. And then joining him on the second row is the Mercedes of Curly Whirly. Synthetic versus Curly for the Constructors' Championship. But mathematically, because Ollie isn't here, I think that is the Williams wrapped up in the Constructors. At some point I will check that. But I think Williams have won it. No, Alex, of course, as well. The veteran. He is finishing his first race in a very, very long time. Commitment from the German and one of the key guys, one of the veterans. As always mentioned, the old boy, the old guard of this series on AOR, the PS4. But Michael with a good performance, he's top of the timings, and he will be on the front row ahead of this Grand Prix as the timer ticks down. Over to Kink with an impressive P6 there, Pasty in 7th, Beagle Killer in 8th, Cass 9th and Clark in 10th, and we'll have the full classifications coming up shortly for you to all look at. And I, for one, am really looking forward to this. I think with no Ollie, obviously he's normally a very, very quick driver around this track, but I would probably say with no Synthetic in P13, it's very, very excited to see what he's able to do going into this Grand Prix. You'd imagine that Synthetic will make his way through, which will create some interesting overtaking and racing opportunities ahead of this Grand Prix. Hopefully, for some odd reason, I think he's just crashed it on his final lap. Actually, if you look there, it seems to be spits of rain coming down on the screen there, so maybe that's why some of these guys, in fact, were struggling. So the early time, but that doesn't make sense because Michael did improve. I'd be surprised if that was the reason, but there are light glimmers of rain going down on the track at the moment ahead of a wet start to this Grand Prix. If you're not aware, it will be a wet start to this race. Corner-wise, there are technically 15 corners if you include the left kink just before the pit lane. DRS activation zones down the start-finish straight and down at the exit of the centre S's out of turn 3, between turn 3 and turn 4. A few real tight braking zones, turn 1 specifically, turn 4 as well. Also, I think there's a minor chance of overtakes into turn 8 and turn 10, maybe turn 12. But there's your classification. The Greek is on pole. It's Michael who takes the top spot, just 4 hundredths of a second. Behind him is Nardi, then Falcon in 3rd, Curly Whirly, he's in 4th, Tim Parb 5th, 6th is over to King, Pasty, he's in 7th, Deal Killer and Cass are 8th and 9th, Clarky 10th, Sean in 11th, 12th for Flores, Synthetic 13th, Kian 14th, and Super Scrub rounds out with 1 minute 16.2, 7.9 seconds off. A lot of Dutch drivers here, 5 in total. It's the first time in a long time in league racing, especially in AOR PS4. The Brits are actually in a minority here. Not very often you get to say that when it comes to online racing. A good diverse group of guys. And if you are watching and you're Dutch, sadly my language my language imperative is very, very limited. So there's the rain that we were called upon. The stewards, sorry, the side of the track there. Not many umbrellas out at the moment, but these drivers will be feeling it. Intermediate conditions for these guys at the moment as we get ourselves ready for an exciting Grand Prix. So who is your money on? Leave in the comments down below. We've got Synthetic making his way through the field, which will be interesting to see what he's able to do. We're just 5 red lights away from a fantastic Brazilian Grand Prix. For the final time on F1 2017. It's go here in AOR PS4 F1, and it's a good start from the Ferrari there on the left hand side. He seems to have got, he's just covering off the Renault there, but losing the rear end slightly. He has to hold it. The Sauber though, he's coming through round the outside of the Renault. He's moving over position with Falcon doing a great job, just squeezes Nardi off there, and Nardi's dropping places quite rapidly, but he's just held on there. He's in 4th, and he's got the Red Bull side by side with him as they go through turn 3, heading towards turn 4. Fantastic start from Michael, already pulled out 9/10 of a second as they all start to filter through, coming into turn 4. Positions will be gained and lost. Nardi holds on to the Renault. Curly Welly though up the inside of the Red Bull. He's going to gain up into 4th in this battle between the two of them for 3rd in the championship. A good job there from Curly Welly. He moved up into 4th. Tim Palm dropping the place though as they've all filtered through and cleanly got through. Kian has dropped down, so it looks like something's happened to him. He's off the grass in fact, so Kian has had a dreadful start. Which sadly, there is in fact our Super Scrub in the Sauber. He's lost it as well, so these conditions are showing and they're very, very difficult for these drivers. The midfield battle is fantastic though. Cass and Sean going side by side. Synthetic not making places up on the start, and he's just in 11th place, which is actually 2 on his starting position, but 2 guys losing control. Kian's called it a day very early there, so not ideal for him. A good start as well from Flores up into 9th. He's on the back of Clarkey. Pasti has Synthetic behind him. Sean as well, who is covering in the Williams as a reserve driver for today. So the Williams boys will have a second driver in there, but a good start there from Flores and Synthetic respectively. Clarkey moving up with Eagle Killer on the hunt as Michael pulls a 1.2 second lead at the moment. The Red Bull of the Eagle Killer is chasing down over the Kink as well. So a good clean start from everyone. Kian sadly having to DNF our first retirement for the final time. He will not be racing around this track. Wet conditions will turn to dry at some stage of this Grand Prix. But a fantastic start from Michael, really showing pace. Nardi on the back of Falcon needs to get past if he wants to get ahead of Curly. Whoever wins out of these two in the battle is most likely going to win the second place. Just 3 points separate Nardi from Curly Whirly, so it needs to be a very minor, but you'd imagine if one of them wins, and in fact if one of them does win, they will get it. If one finishes second and third, it could be very tight. Clarkey and Deagle Killer struggling, pushed out wide by the sister car of the Toro Rosso, just avoids his rear end there. Flores as well getting a little bit interested behind. Intermediate tyres at this stage in these wet conditions, they will dry up. Flores looking up the inside, just needs to avoid the rear end there. Deagle Killer is all over the place, maybe has a dry setup on the car which is hindering him. Contact between the two of them, but Deagle Killer has come out on top between them, and Synthetic has moved up into the points. Cass is dropping quite rapidly. Pasti is the next man to get past him, but Synthetic can see a gaggle of cars ahead of him. A train is forming, and he's got his eyes on Flores Verger as he's going to head down as Michael took the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, really extending his lead and doing a great job. Synthetic's in the slipstream, no DRS in these wet weather conditions. Flores defending on the inside. Synthetic has to go the long way round if he wants to get it done, but he's almost cut off there. Flores and Deagle Killer come together. Flores out braking himself, trying to cut off Synthetic, but almost hindered Deagle Killer. Flores now, maybe he's going to try and hang around the outside. He's losing the rear end. He's just held it. A beautiful manoeuvre around the outside. If he can stick this one, he's going to be brilliant. Oh no, Synthetic's gone in the inside. He's on the grass. Flores has cut him off though. up the inside. They're going to make their way through it. Can Synthetic be an ultimate opportunist and get past the Red Bull? They're going to continue to go side by side, and Synthetic has got the manoeuvre done. Flores opportunistic around the outside, and Synthetic on the grass to get it done. Sebastian Vettel at Spain S. The other Williams now shored up the inside of the Eagle Killer, and we've never seen the Eagle Killer struggle this much. Maybe there's some form of issue or contact that's happened in this car, because he's really struggling for downforce, and 3 cars have got past him in just the first sector alone. A fantastic performance there from them guys as they neck, because that was an intense start. 3 laps in, and it currently stands with Michael, Falcon and Nardi making up the top 3. Oh, there we go. Oh, that was bad. It's gone down the wrong hole. This has been a nightmare. As they're coming through now, Clarky. Oh, Michael says the fastest lap. As Clarky's getting on over to Kink there. Of what all the times for it to go wrong, it's gone wrong there. Clarky closing in on this teammate. Maybe some team orders coming into play. We've seen team orders be a little bit of a controversial subject as Clarky loses the rear end there. They are struggling for grip. Maybe have to move off the racing line if he wants to find some standing water to fill these tyres and get them into the groove. Team orders have been a factor throughout the season. If you do remember the Singapore incident between Curly and Ollie, Ollie is watching along live. He'll remember it very, very specifically. It was one of the most intense moments where Curly felt he just didn't need to help his teammate. Wasn't a team player. Maybe resolved now, but the 2 guys who have shown probably the best pace. I'd say Curly's up there as Rookie of the Year. I'm not sure if we're going to do end of season awards. We will have credits at the end, but we will point out some classic moments and some big moments ahead, so do stay tuned. We'll talk about that at the very end of this Grand Prix. It's been a long season and it's been a very tough one, especially a lot of people won't mention this, but in this heat conditions, I know if you're UK based or throughout Europe, it's very hot during the summer with around about 26 and upwards on average, but we've had some days where it's been 30 odd degrees, and it's a very difficult situation to continue and race in these conditions, especially in hot rooms. At this current moment in time, I can imagine many of these drivers are looking at that rain and wishing it was cold outside, just so they felt a little bit more comfortable. It's difficult in these heated conditions, making it a bit more realistic than say in real life. You know, imagine if you're in one of them cars, you're scalding hot, you'll feel the temperature. Nardi's feeling the temperature, and Falcon is under pressure at the moment. He's going to have to defend from the Williams. Sorry, of the Renault there, Williams in his name. He's not seemingly got the straight line speed. Falcon's doing a good job, but Michael isn't pulling away dramatically at the moment as expected. 1.6 seconds with the pace he showed and the start he had. You'd expect maybe a bit more of a rapid start from these guys, and you know, I would have thought maybe Michael would have pulled away a little bit more. It's not drying up, still raining out on track. The clouds are something we'll keep an eye on, as once the gaps in the clouds and the grey clouds start to form, that's when things get excited. Curly Whirly's not taking advantage of the hold up at the moment of Nardi, but Nardi's getting very, very frustrated. It's nearly 2 seconds from Michael to Falcon. Nardi does need to get a move on though. Further down, Clarky's still on the back of over to King and struggling. There is a minor train starting to form between this lot. It looks like Clarky's struggling with the dirty air on the exit of corners. You'll see it probably through the exit of the penultimate corner. Now, he'll get on the power a little bit too early, loses the rear end, and it just hinders him coming up the hill. Over to Kink, in fact, done it there. You just see a little bit of a snap. It hinders his acceleration up the hill, and he just can't get onto. Over to Kink is getting bare exits out the corner, almost like he has medium traction control on. Looking out there now, it looks like it's dry, so the rain has now stopped, and it looks like we're going to have that switchover point. Definitely down the start-finish straight, the rain has concluded, and it just looks like spray at the moment coming off that screen. So it looks like we're going to be seeing some tight battles. Nardi onto the rear end of Falcon, still can't get the manoeuvre done. I'm just going to keep an eye on though, see if there's any rain out on track. It just looks like spray which is forming, but Falcon has had a very poor exit, and Nardi won't be wanting to stay behind him for too long. He's losing time to Michael. This isn't an overtaking opportunity, but he may have to get his elbows out and see what Killer's drop down the pasty. Maybe Nardi's going to look up the inside. He thinks better of it and just slots in, but Falcon is really struggling at the moment, and this could bring Curly into play in this little battle between these two for third in the Drivers' Championship. Nardi though, where it counts through the penultimate corner, he is not able to get onto the exit turn. Sorry, not the penultimate corner, turn 12. It's technically got turn 13 and 14. Sorry, coming out the final real braking zone. Look at Falcon there, drifting round the corner, doing a fantastic job to hold on to it, and this could be Nardi's opportunity. Falcon with a very poor exit there. As long as he holds this good line, he's done a very good job there, and this could be Nardi's opportunity now as they come through turns 13 and 14. There's 13, here comes 14 for one final time. Can they? Oh no, Falcon's dove into the pits. He realises he's struggling, and it looks like he's going to come into a fresh set of inters. Curly Whirly coming into the pits as well, so these intermediate tyres are not lasting at the moment. And let's keep an eye on soft tyres for both of them. In fact, all the guys that are coming in are going onto dry tyres. There's the DRS enabled. There's a Mercedes that's come in and exited. Curly Whirly has not got the jump there of Falcon. So a lot of these guys coming into the pits, over the Kink, Flores, Synthetic, Deagle Killer, Cass, Super Scrub, all coming in. The guys that have stayed out, Michael in the lead. Nardi has been released, so let's see if he can do anything. Tim Palm as well. This could be a momentous moment for Falcon, and especially Curly. If Curly can jump Nardi for the Drivers' Championship, it could be crucial, and he does need to get that done if he wants to. If he does want to take first in the championship. For Michael, he needs to hold on to this lead, but Nardi, look at the time he's gaining. He's down to 1.9 from previously 2.4. So Nardi has the pace at the moment to win this Grand Prix with the way he's going, but it does look like he's in that horrible crossover period between dry and wet. I'm not sure who's exactly feeling it better at the moment. Looking at Falcon, he seems much more comfortable than the guys ahead of him. Let's have a look. Nardi, he's just about... Look at Michael, though. He's really struggling. Nardi as well, so it looks like he's just coming to the drier tyres. Falcon's on mediums, whereas Curly's on soft, so this could bring Curly into play, but I think we may see Falcon lead this Grand Prix. Here comes Michael into the pits. We'll keep an eye, but he's ahead there. Tim Palm and Clarkey battling, and Curly Whirly. And Falcon now, the guys who want to keep an eye on. It's definitely dry conditions now. As somebody put in the chat, is this Xbox or PC? This is PS4. This is the PS4 stream. It may have been removed from the title accidentally, but this is PS4. A mistake there from me there. My own mistake there. Coming out the pit, so Michael is coming out, and it looks like Falcon's going to get it done there, side by side. On the track, there goes Falcon, and there is Michael, and here comes Curly Whirly, who's going to be in the slipstream. He's going to have a better exit out of the corner, being spit up spray. Got to go up the inside, brake a little bit later, better heat in his tyres, more traction. He's going to force Michael to go around the outside. Curly Whirly is feeling the pace at the moment. He's going to keep pushing. He's going to have a good slipstream, maybe having to go in for the manoeuvre down into turn 8, up 6 and up 7 now. The uphill double right-hander. He's now going to just feel it, maybe go up the inside. No, he's holding on to position. Pasti now holding up Falcon, which could bring some of the guys into play. Round the outside goes Falcon. It's easy as pie for him. Pasti dropping, so their intermediate tyres have definitely fallen off. Michael is now the next man to come up to Pasti. This could hinder him quite a lot as they come through this section. He's going to go a long way round, if anything. So will Curly Whirly, but Curly is showing some great pace at the moment. He does need to put in a performance if he wants to beat Nardi, who him and Michael have left it a little bit too late, and Michael will be very annoyed in himself that he has dropped this low. It's not really ideal, and that's not what he wanted at this stage. Now Curly doesn't look like he's close enough, so Michael can now begin his push once again, as Nardi is also going to have to try and push. Their Falcons at the fastest lap. He was showing poor pace in the wet conditions, but in the dry he's flourishing, as you could say. Flourishes the fastest lap now. Synthetic does. He's on the back of Over the King, and in these dry conditions he's on a set of super soft tyres, so it looks like he's going to be pitting twice. He loves the super softs and making them last. I'd be shocked if he gets them to the end. Super Scrub is now the next man to set the fastest lap. A quick drinks break there as they come through the middle sector. Synthetic is just 5 steps down. We're over the Kink ahead of him, also gaining quite rapidly. Michael 1.3 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that gap. It looks like it's dropping a little bit, but Nardi is not gaining as much. But if Michael and Curly do battle, it could help him out a little bit. It's on mediums and super softs for the Williams of Synthetic. These are the tyres the guys are on. It says Synthetic's on soft compound tyres. It's on screen super soft, so I'll take it that he's on the soft compound tyres, as it can be an issue and a glitch where it doesn't show the correct tyre compound. So as they come up turns 13, 14 and 15 now, Michael sets the fastest lap, so he is gaining. Synthetic also gaining. DRS available, but also available to Over the Kink coming into turn 1. Will we go for the manoeuvre? No, he thinks better of it, and he holds on to Over the Kink, but it looks like Synthetic's going to get better. Over the Kink struggling through there, all on the curve, all 4 wheels off. That could be a warning for him. It will definitely hinder his exit out of the corner, but with DRS available, and it does look like Flores is pulling away from him, so maybe next lap Synthetic's best opportunity as Super Scrub picks up a penalty. That might be the first penalty. It's definitely the first one I have seen today, and not ideal there from Super Scrub. He's going to be trying to scrape around and pick up some of the small points. Pasti, who obviously went really long on them intermediate tyres, is now 17 seconds off the next car in 14th. Maybe, just maybe, a few people have mentioned that he maybe could be an F2 driver next season, so this will be the last time we see Pasti in the top class. Not the best season for him, but over to Kink and Synthetic. Synthetic's got the manoeuvre done in the most optimistic way. He's got past, not an overtaking area, and now next to him is Flores. Synthetic moves up into P6 as he makes his way through from 13th to 6th. He is out an absolute stormer at the moment, the AOR champion, as he looks to try and get a podium in his final race on F1 2017. It's been a good season. We've had 2 seasons on this game. I wasn't around to commentate on the first one, but in the second season we've had some fantastic racing, and we've had a few commentary partners and a few commentators in the box. We'll mention them at the end of this Grand Prix. It's been a long old season. It's been a tight season. It's been Ollie versus Synthetic from round 1. Australia was a classic, and Synthetic has come out on top. And now on his race of honour, Sean actually sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix behind Super Scrub as well, so he's showing some fantastic pace. Maybe a man to look forward to in the future. Super Scrub, somebody who's had a very difficult season. He knows, and we all know, he has some pace on his day. He's got Slipstream and DRS available to him, but Sean can't get the manoeuvre done. He has to try it again. Michael is all over the rear end of Falcon, and now as Curly Whirly's also in there, so's Nardi. We've got ourselves a fantastic little squabble. What a camera angle for this moment. You can see them all so close together, and in fact Flores could maybe get involved on this as well. You can see all 3 of the top 3 so close, and there just in the background is Nardi. He could join in on this little party very, very soon as they're coming up 13 and 14. DRS will be available to Michael, none for Falcon. This could be like taking candy from a baby, or in this situation, a mouse from a Falcon. Michael's going to go around the outside, and even before the braking zone, it looks like he's got the position down. Falcon's going to brake late, which could hinder him through the corner on the exit. It will be the inside line for Michael now. He's going to force him off inside now for Falcon. They're going to continue to go side by side. Great side by side racing. This could actually allow, though, Curly Whirly into the mix now. He's going to see these 2 heading up into the corner. Turn 4. Falcon's hold it. Michael brakes later. Locks up from both of them. This could now open the opportunity for Curly Whirly, who have the inside line. He's got his wheel in front. Michael has to abide him and give space. They're going to go side by side. Surely not. Up into turn 6 and 7. Curly backs out of it. And this is all allowing Nardi, who is now all over the rear end of these lot. The top 4 battling out for the lead at the moment. Important battle for 2 of them, and a battle of pride for Michael and Falcon. Curly Whirly, though, will have hoped that he could get an opportunistic manoeuvre. It looked like Michael had the move done there, but Falcon defending for all his might. And what this is allowing, as we mentioned, Flores to get into the game. And if Flores gets into the game, Synthetic is not far behind. You could have a top 6 battle unless Michael can get the manoeuvre done. It's a short lap, of course, as mentioned, just over 1 minute here. So the action will come thick and fast. The Super Scrub is retired. We'll quickly look at what's happened. He's crushed it out going up into turn 6 and 7. So he's lost control of the car. Michael next time round the outside. Can he get this manoeuvre done? We'll stick with the camera angle on board now. Falcon's going to brake late again. It worked well from this time, but it looks like that Michael's going to go for it and switch back now. Turns 2, 3 and 4. Turns 2 and 3. Going to get a better exit now out the corner. Nardi's picked up a penalty. No DRS, no slipstream as Falcon's moved over early. Now Michael dives in there. Little bit of a dummy. Round the outside. Can he get the manoeuvre done? I don't think it. No, Falcon's pushed him off wide. Now that allows Curly Whirly up the inside. They're going to go side by side. And it looks like these 2 are going to continue to push. Will Michael stick out the inside through 6 and 7? He backs out a bit, but this will now open up for him as he get a better exit. No, Curly Whirly moves him in a second. Falcon there, some questionable driving, pushing off the Ferrari. Not ideal. The VGI guys, VGIA guys will be having words, I imagine. But Curly Whirly, importantly, has moved up into P2, which will give him the championship 3rd position between him and Nardi. Flores in the rear end now gaining. You can just see him there, and Michael is really struggling. The man who was leading and dominating in qualifying and in the race early parts is now dropping off like a fly. So it does make you think Falcon and Michael maybe had drier setups on, but Michael is not having a good time of it now. You can see Curly Whirly ahead of him. He's getting slipstream and DRS. It's his turn to have a go on Falcon. Falcon loves that inside line to defend. Late braking from Curly. He's off the track, and that is a positions lost. 1, 2. Can it be Flores as well? It is. Curly Whirly late braking, getting onto the grass. He dipped his front right tyre onto the grass, and that has cost him countless positions from 2nd. Now he's down to 7th. He's really struggling. Curly Whirly is. He's dropping like a fly. He's dropped like a stone in water. Down into P8 now, and Tim Palm will have a look up the inside, I imagine, for a later braking zone. Up the inside! Contact between the Red Bull and the Mercedes, just about avoiding. Curly Whirly will not be happy, and it looks like it is indeed. Curly's picked up damage. So Curly picked up damage when going off the track. You can see it there on the front left of his car. He's struggling, and that may just be it for the Mercedes driver. He's had a very disappointing disappointing race there. He's had a fantastic start, but he has dropped down now and he's out of the race, it seems like. So it looks like Nardi, and this is a big issue for him, is going to be taking P3 in the championship. Michael and Falcon will restart their battle. So too with Nardi and Flores. But gaining in here. Synthetic will also slowly start to chug into it. We'll keep an eye on board here. We'll go external and see what happens between this lot. Nardi's got a slipstream. There goes Michael now. Going to try and go around the outside this time. Falcon's been fantastic on the inside defending. Breaks later, does a great job. Going to force Michael off wide. This return to the inside. A little bit of contact on the side pod. But the inside line backwards there. Nardi's lost out to Flores. He's pushed him off. The Sauber and the Ferrari coming together though. There's no ifs or buts between them two. No love lost. Michael finally gets manoeuvre done, but Falcon may dive up the inside. He's going to the inside. Contact between the Sauber and the Ferrari. I'm not sure if there was damage. We'll try and have a look. No damage it seems, but Michael has got the manoeuvre done in questionable fashion. Flores got the manoeuvre done on Nardi. And that is some great battling, but Falcon will not be happy with the way Michael did that. Pushing him off the track, getting eager, getting the elbows out, and also Flores pushing Nardi off. So Nardi doesn't need to push as much, of course. He knows it's just about that third, but they all want to win this Grand Prix. It's a very tight battle. Now 1 second behind Nardi is Synthetic there. If you just notice, Flores went into the rear end of the Sauber. So if Michael can pull out that 1 second gap, this could be danger for Falcon, who could drop. Similar to Curly, who is now down in 12th. He's on a set of medium compound tyres. Synthetic is not gaining dramatically 8 tenths, but it's Nardi, Flores and Falcon battle. Looks like Flores is the most likely to get the manoeuvre done. Flores is pushing him up the hill, but DRS is available for Falcon, which could hinder Flores. He takes that same inside line that has served him so well. Flores has the break later. He gets on the grass, but just gets the car slowed down in time on the white line. Could have been dangerous, similar to Curly. Right on the edge there, the Dutchman was. And he has held on to third. He now has slipstream. DRS as well, but DRS available for Falcon as they come down into turn 4. Flores looking up the inside, thinks better of it, and doesn't want to go for anything brash. He's got a great opportunity to win this Grand Prix. He's showing some fantastic pace, especially if he can get past Falcon. Nardi is 2 tenths behind as well, so he can take advantage of any opportunities. A single mistake could cost him. Flores was a little bit wide there, which opened up an opportunity for Nardi, but no move done. But Flores leaving the gaps open as he pushed him once again there. It looks like a lot of these guys are getting eager going into turn 7, as it's turn 8 there. And one of the good overtaking opportunities if they can get the car slowed down in time. Of course, mentioned turn 1, 4, 8 and 12 are the main overtaking opportunities around here. A lot of these guys will be going into this Grand Prix. Falcon losing the rear end, so is Flores. This could make Nardi's life a little bit more safety. Synthetic's not showing great pace on the dry tyres at the moment. It says he's on soft. It looks like he's on supers. I'm not too sure. We'll take the word of the graphic in the top left hand corner. Man, a good place on soft compound tyres, but no moves down there into turn 1. A lot of these guys really riding it tight on the right hand side on the brass now. Flores and Falcon both losing the rear end. It looks like Nardi's got the coach car control at the moment, but hasn't got the exit speed compared to the Force India and the Sauber. No manoeuvres done this time. 1.3 seconds now. Michael has pulled out. And Michael successfully now looks like he could be back on for a race victory, where it looked like it was snatched away from him when Curly Whirly got into second. But after Curly's misfortune, it looks like Michael is in the prime seat at the moment as they head up into turn 8. A lot of the guys there getting on the exit of turn 7 onto the curb. It can carry momentum, but if you're off the track there, your tyres will struggle and the grip is minuscule. You could find a few lockups and a couple of spins. We've seen Curly go on the grass and how difficult it is. The curving also has a lack of grip, and you want to try and get your car on the grey stuff. The tarmac is where the grip is, and now the weather has dried up a little bit, considering this drier start, the wet start to this Grand Prix. It looks like a safe bet. A lot of these guys will be going to the end, especially the guys on mediums or soft compounders. Maybe just will struggle depending on how they manage it. Not between Flores and Nardi and Falcon, it could really damage their tyres. How much damage has been done to Michael? Of course, we mentioned about the one-stoppers. I do think, if I remember in my notes, it was around about lap 8 to 10 on soft compound tyres, to then pit onto you pit onto soft compound, and then lap 25 to 26. So maybe lap 28 we'll see a lot of these guys going on to the super soft tyres. If you're on mediums, they're going to the end, but that's a really, really risky strategy. And these guys will want to try and hold out for as long as possible. As we're now coming through this difficult section of the track. Internet connection apparently is struggling, but we'll keep fighting as they're coming through now. Falcon is really defending with all his might, one of the contenders for driver of the day, just for his defensive driving at the moment. All the guys have made at least one stop. Curly Whirly has made 2. after the incident that happened where he went off at turn 1 getting on the grass. Synthetic's not gaining as much time as expected. You would have thought he would have done a bit better with his track record. Only in 5th position, but with the championship wrapped up as a cruise for him at the moment. He's just enjoying himself with 8 positions gained. Flores gaining 9, of course. We mentioned how erratic he can be at times. He's had a very mature drive at the moment. He's trying to get onto the back of Falcon. But it looks like these soft compound tyres are starting to struggle a little bit. But Falcon is saving them to try and hold out longer. If he does win this Grand Prix, it will be a very, very exceptional drive for him. Only 2 people have not gained or lost any positions off the start, and those are over to Kink and Michael. Michael has had a bit of a strange race, to be fair. We didn't expect him to drop like he did, considering the pace he was showing at the start of this Grand Prix. He got the 3rd, but after some incidents and getting past Falcon in a controversial way with a little bit of argy-bargy, he has held off and he is leading this race by 2.1 seconds. Boris is feeling the heat indeed from Falcon. If he's not feeling the heat outside, he'll be feeling the heat in the cockpit at the moment if he tries to gain onto the back of the Sauber of Falcon, who has had a very mature drive as things currently stand. Further down the field, let's have a look how things are going. Tim Palm on the back of Clarkey, who has dropped off to over to King. He was very tight to him earlier, so maybe an issue for Clarkey. Maybe the double stack as well in the wet conditions has cost him, as Tim Palm is starting to show that pace we know he has. He's in 8th position. Digger Killer, who is dropping like a fly, is in 9th. And Sean, who's now got past, who was our Super Scrub, who was trying to get past for 11th. He's now up into P10 with Cass in 11th. Normally does much better than his teammate Davidos and him. Very often the surprise packages in these races. A fantastic couple of drivers for the midfield battle. Curly Whirly, after his incident 12, he'll try and get into the point. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be 12 seconds if he wants to get into the point playing position, but he is gaining on Cass at the moment. If you look there in 11th, it is certainly coming down, so he has got a chance with 16 laps to go. He'll be going to the end. And Pasty, who earlier on of course went really long on them intermediate tyres, is actually doing a very good job. He's just 3.7 seconds off Curly Whirly and off Cass. 12, so it was a 17-second gap. That's 5 seconds gained already. A very mature job. Falcon is minorly gaining on Michael, but it's jumped up to 2.1 seconds again. It's changing every single sector. 1.4 seconds between Flores and Falcon, and Nardi is also there for good measure. So this battle could get very interesting very soon. Synthetic has dropped down to 1 second. Maybe he's just waiting for this lot to come together and to maybe take advantage there. Nardi losing the rear end, they're not ideal for him, as he's going to hug up the inside now. He's going to go up the hill, turn 6 and 7. He's got a fantastic line, in fact, Nardi. He dives into the pits, though. We mentioned the soft compound tyres wouldn't last. Nardi comes in, gets the car slowed down in time, and he's the first man in. You'd imagine for another set of soft compound tyres, the undercut could be crucial if he's being held up by Flores and Falcon. Falcon going to the end. It looks like Michael won't be, though. That's why Falcon maybe was accepting of the position to be lost. There goes Nardi onto a set of soft tyres. Deagle Killer also coming to the pits onto soft compound tyres. Synthetic, we know, will go longer on his tyres. He always does. And now we just want to keep an eye on what these guys go on tyre-wise. I would be surprised. I'd imagine some of them will go onto a set of super softs, but not very long there. The guys are out on tyres. In fact, they pitted around lap 7 or 10 sort of time. So around about this sort of time, you'd think many of them will come into the pits. I'm imagining Synthetic will go on to super soft because he loves a risky strategy. He always does. Flores being held up. Nardi will be gaining on him. And Flores, if he wants to succeed in this Grand Prix, maybe he has to go for the undercut. We should see as well when Michael comes into the pits. And if Falcon as well maybe just pits to cover off and goes onto soft compound tyres, and just be on the same strategy as them guys to make sure his P2 is safe. He's in a fantastic position at the moment. There's Nardi pulling open left, and I mentioned Falcon. He has come into the pits. He's decided to copy Nardi and copy Michael as well. It's an important opportunity for him. There's no point in staying out longer on the mediums when you've got second place, and if you have some decent pace as well. He showed some good pace on the medium compound tyres. If he can get pace on them softs, it could be an important set of pit stops for him now. I think there's a chance though that Flores could jump him. There goes the Ferrari, and there the Sauber just gets ahead of the 14. It's going to be tight though. Coming out of the pits, there's Nardi in the Renault. He's being held up by Sean. It looks like though Nardi's going to get the position done. It's going to be very tight there. You can see the Renault and the Williams now out of the pits. There's Falcon, and Nardi showing great pace, but he's going to go side by side though with the Williams. Can he go around the outside? Sean tucks it in there. And Nardi, even though being held up, has done a fantastic job to get the holding position. He's got Sean in between him and Falcon. Falcon has one lap and pressure tyres. Will Falcon go around the outside? Surely not. Goes round the outside, swoops it up 6 and 7. He'll have a better exit out the corner, but Sean over the inside line. He's on the curbing. They're going to go side by side. Sean and then just come together. A little bit of contact there. Needless contact. But Falcon will now go up the inside. Can he get the manoeuvre done? Yes, he does. And now Flores is taking advantage. He pushes the Williams off on the track now. Sean up the inside goes Flores. Flores opportunistic as ever, tries to go up there later on the brakes, and he comes together with the Sauber. They've both lost major time to Nardi there, but Flores trying to take full advantage. He's been stuck behind the Sauber for so long, and he tries to get the move done. He's now going to have a fantastic exit. I don't think there's any damage there. Falcon with no DRS. This could be his opportunity now. DRS and slipstream. He showed good pace now. He's going to have slipstream and DRS now. In the inside goes Falcon. Fastest lap from Nardi as he tries to hunt down the guys ahead of him. Round the outside goes the Sauber. He just squeezed off there from... Sorry, round the outside goes the Force India. He's squeezed off by the Sauber. And Flores has to drop in. Diego Killer moving up into P9. Sean in the pit, so too is Cass. And what a stage of pit stops that was. A great manoeuvre and some great battling. Nardi, though, is now going to try and hunt down Michael for a technical P1 synthetic. Is staying out on track. And we know he likes to make his tyres go along. And that might just be the moment where we see a battle for the lead. If Synthetic really does push these tyres, goes on the super softs, he could be an outside chance for the lead here. With the poor pace that's really being shown from the leaders at the moment, they can do much better. Some interesting racecraft from the guys there. Flores diving up the inside, Falcon being pushed. Well, you know, that's the racing. Elbows down, they're getting desperate. It's not to see. These guys are very passionate, and considering it's the last round, many people wouldn't show up. We've had 15 guys show up for this Grand Prix. A credit to them for still showing up. A high for the PS4, a high for AOR. I think it might just be the high. I've spoken to a few people and they are just around about 11 and 12 at the moment. So a credit to them. We've got 15 guys show up and I'm just glad they're here to race. Tim Palmer's coming to the pit. It looks like he's on super softs. He's going to risk it for a chocolate biscuit, as Joe, my former co-commentator, would say. He's really put the risky reels on, if you like, and he's come out. He's P9s, and Curly Whirly might just jump, and Curly's in the points, but Curly's going to hold on to the position there. So Tim Palm maybe setting some fastest laps before not too long in the future. Nardi gaining on Michael 1.8 seconds. Over to Kink is gaining on Synthetic. Why is Synthetic struggling? Synthetic has a puncture. That's why Synthetic is struggling. He's pushed his tyres a little bit too long. He was on the super soft tyres. I was wondering why he was going long, and he has got a puncture. Whether he's on softs or supers, he's pushed it a little bit too far, so Synthetic is out of the running for this Grand Prix. Next up for him is Clarkey, who's gaining on him. It looks like Clarkey's struggling a little bit as well. Why is Clarkey struggling? No, Clarkey was just a little bit bogged down there, so he's okay. So Synthetic's retired. So Synthetic has called it a day. He crushed it going into the pit. Very strange there. So Synthetic's championship defence will start next season, but your champion for this year has ended it for the final time in P8. He's retired after a puncture, so Synthetic's season has come to a close. Lewis Hamilton style, he hasn't won a Grand Prix after winning the championship. That has thrown a spanner, so we will have a race winner who isn't the champion today. So Synthetic's first race as champion hasn't gone to plan, so now we keep an eye on Falcon, Nardi, Flores and Michael, who are gaining on the rear end of Clarkey, who is an outside chance of a win here if he can keep them tyres going. A penalty for Flores. We will keep an eye on penalties, but not to a major degree. But the big news there, Synthetic is out of this Grand Prix from a very poor performance. He's not really had pace, so lucky for him, the championship didn't come down to the final race here in Brazil. As Flores now is onto the rear end, is trying to get onto the rear end of Falcon. Falcon is trying to gain on Nardi. No real battles, but we often have this in the PS4 F1 series, where there'll be a little lapse, where there'll just be a very quiet moment. Clarkey comes into the pit, so we'll be very quiet around about the three-quarters stage, and then for the final quarter of the Grand Prix, it just all comes alive, especially with the fact you've got over to Kink on super soft tyres, Tim Palm on supers, with Diego now having to defend from said super soft runner. over the kink, though he will maybe have a chance of a puncture at the end of this Grand Prix. The Eagle Killer is being hunted down like prey. The Eagle is on the receiving end, over the kink, up the inside, goes for the manoeuvre. Can he keep it? They go side by side, out of turn 4, turn 5 now. It's a tight corner. They're just about staying side by side now as they're going to head up turn 6 and 7. Zero Killer thinks better of it, and over the kink has got the position done, and that is him up into P5. 6.8 seconds to Flores. He can now start the push with some clean air and see what he can do. The front four at one stage was so close, and it looks to be a disappointing end, as we was all hoping that this would be a really tight battle, a 5-way scrap. Over the kink and Tim Palm could be the ones to make it a little bit more interesting. Tim Palm, what, a 9/10 of a second? Sorry, there, 9/10 of a second to his teammate. Apologies for that. Pardon me. As Tim Palm will now be gaining onto the back of the Eagle Killer, heading up the hill through 13 and 14 under the Fly Emirates stand. It's been a good race so far from these guys. You would have thought it may have been a little bit stale the way that the championship is now wrapped up. It's the Constructors' Championship, which is now wrapped up with the way Curly Whirly's going. There's no chance of him doing it, and the fact as well they need both drivers to be in the points. With Ollie not being here, the Constructors will go to Williams. So for Synthetic, he might be a little bit disappointed. They are now officially the AOR PS4 F1 Season 15 Constructors or Teams Champions, and a double header there for Synthetic. A good job for him and Alex. Alex, a veteran, deserves a little title to his name, and he can now put next to Coordinator Season 15 Constructors Champion as well. Interesting battles on track. Tim Palm gaining on Digger Kill. Look at the time though. Over the kink is gained 6.8 seconds, I think it was previously. It's now 5.3. That's 1.5 seconds in just a lap alone. Over the kink is absolutely flying, so he could be an outside chance for a podium here, which would be very impressive for him. Flores had a good race so far. So those are the tyres. We want to keep an eye on Clarkey, Tim Palm, and over the kink as they make their way through the field. Let's have a look though at how many positions people have gained. Flores has gained 8, so he is definitely up there for driver of the day. The top 3 haven't changed positions at all, so that would maybe make you think it's been a bit of a dull race, but it's been one of the most scrappy races. Of course, I quickly got to mention AOR will be back for the F1 2018 game, which is released later on this month. You can look forward to some fantastic side-by-side action on PS4, Xbox and PC. If you're watching and you have any of them platforms and you're thinking about buying the game and want to race online, there's plenty of tiers you can join. Whether you're at this quality setting, the 1 minute 9.8 that Pasty has just done, or if you're a little bit slower, a beginner, but you just want to get into a community that's very tight and you can enjoy yourself and get involved. And even if you're a wannabe commentator, as long as you're not coming for my job, I'm happy to accept. We're happy to have people on board, of course. So yeah, if you're interested about joining and you want to sign up and you want to be a part of probably the biggest F1 community out there, partners of course with F1 and the F1 games, with some great staff behind the scenes, including Fizzyfan and Dan Hawkins. You want to sign up for AOR for next season, and hopefully we will see many more drivers in a much more compact grid. From, I believe on PS4 we've got 8 tiers and 2 assist tiers. So I was very poor at racing. I was not good at all. But I raced for a very brief period before I decided to switch over to commentary, and now you're currently listening and watching a very poor stream and listening to me talk about it for an hour with my voice probably feeling the effects tomorrow morning. It's just turning at 9 o'clock British Standard Time. We've been around 40 minutes racing here, and it's just 7 laps to go. 29 of 36 of this Grand Prix. It's just flew by. Been here, and I hope you have enjoyed so far what's been going on. We'll try and get the drivers in for the post-race debrief. It'll be interesting to see what we can get and who we can talk to, but we will have a few credits at the end of the Grand Prix. If you are watching along live, please do now in the comments. I am reading them and watching them. If you could please quickly mention any standout moments for your season if you're a driver. I know that Davidos and Ollie have been reading, and a few other people. Please mention your standout moment of the season for you personally, and any moments you thought were big, and anything that you really look back on and thought that was a big moment in the season. Please do mention it down below. Also, if you have got anyone you want mentioned on the stream for their work behind the scenes, or anyone you think deserves it, please do mention. I mentioned at the start of the stream as well about King Kodiak. We'll mention that as well quickly. He is the head commentator on AOR PS4 F1. He is also the reason I am here talking to you today. He's the one who gave me the opportunity after doing little bits of work with partners of AOR. I got the opportunity to commentate here, and I think I've been the consistent factor. We've had 5 commentary pairings with me, no, 4 commentary pairings, and we've had, I think, 6 commentary pairings in total. Trying to think, no, 5 commentary pairings in total. So we've had a very, very hectic one, and hopefully next season we have consistency. I've been talking, and there could be a chance of there could be a chance that we have a few more consistent commentators for next year, and definitely have a better quality stream than currently produced. We have had some good streams and some good races ahead of me. We'll have my personal 3-word race review. We've been doing that for the whole season. 3 words, sum up the race, and we'll very much do a season review, and we'll talk about some of the drivers, we'll talk about things and wrap things up at the end of this Grand Prix. Over the Kinky's 3.1 seconds though, onto the back of Flores. He could be a bit of a factor at the end here. If his tyres can hold up, you'd imagine they'll be okay though heading into these final few laps of this Grand Prix. It'd be a shame if he couldn't catch on the Flores. It could just be a hindrance at the end here. Neil Kidder was keeping up with Tim Palm as well, so that's interesting. You know, I would have thought he would have pulled away a little bit in comparison to his teammate, but he hasn't done so at the moment. Over the Kink though is gaining quite dramatically onto the rear end of Flores in the Force India, so it could be interesting to see what happens between them two at the end of this Grand Prix. As I mentioned, I was talking about King Kodiak, how he's the head guy on AOR PS4, on just AOR commentary. He's given a lot of guys opportunities. You know, he's the guy who coordinates it, makes sure everyone's happy, gets guys in. He's, you know, the reason I'm here, and he's also a very good commentator. Has worked with the F1 games. Him and Justin Sutton's Late Go Pirate, they've worked together, and he's in a difficult situation here financially, where he might have to give up his dream of commentary, and he's a very, very good commentator, and he deserves the opportunity to continue. So he has got Patreons, he has got donation areas. If you go over to his social media, you can go and help him out if need be. It'd be a shame if he has to drop out, because he is one of the good guys on here, and he's a very good guy. He's a family man. He deserves the opportunity to continue to do his dream. Without people like him, then we wouldn't have, you know, such an array of streams and commentators, and we wouldn't have opportunities. And I, for one, wouldn't be here watching the AOR PS4 F1 finale. And I hope he gets through. Please do, if you can. If you just want to help out, if you want to, you know, wish him luck, go over to his Twitter and just send love and support. But if you can help out with anything, any finances, please do. This isn't a shout out that they've requested, or he's requested at all. This is just me personally talking about him, because he is a good guy and deserves the opportunity, and he deserves to be spoken about, because he is a big influence on me and a lot of the guys, and I dare say anyone else who's a commentator watching this will understand how much effort he puts in. And if I was in that situation, I would also want to be helped out in any way, shape or form. Speaking of which, if you want help, sadly Flores is going to have none of it. Turns 2 and 3, as he exits out here now, he can see a Toro Rosso, a silver, blue and red Cola Toro Rosso livery, as they're going to head down now into turns 3 and 4. Flores has got Over the Kink all over his rear end, and hopefully we can have ourselves a really tight battle. The gaps are starting to form between Flores, Falcon, Nardi and Michael. I'll be surprised if we get anyone in for the commentary, for the post-race interviews, but we'll see what we can get done. Over the Kink though is all over the rear end at the moment of the flying Toro Rosso of Over the Kink. He's doing a good job at the moment. Heel Killer is really keeping on the back of Tim Palm there, so imagine the sort of pace he would have had. Maybe Heel Killer and Tim Palm have been a very consistent driver. Line up Flores there out of the corner, has just lost the rear end slightly there, and he is struggling on these tyres to keep it going. 5 seconds between him and Falcon now. All this really is doing is holding up Over the Kink now. About 34 or 36. Michael has just entered. These guys will now be going on to it with just 3 laps to go. Flores is going to defend the inside line, going around the outside. Can he brake a little bit later? He goes for it. Flores pushes him off there onto the grass. He just holds the position though. This will turn to the inside. He's lacking traction and grip. Flores is backed off of it to go for the switchback. Now on board with Flores. He's going to have slipstream, but no DRS available to him. It will just preferably be slipstream versus slipstream. Let's see who gets the better of it here. DRS is available for Flores, but it looks like manoeuvre's done. Over the Kink has got the position, and there he is up into P4. Next up for him is Falcon. Over the Kink, a very consistent driver. Valtteri Bottas-esque. He's not very flash. He doesn't get the praise you'd imagine. Diego has got past Tim Palm there. Very interesting to see. So next Clarkey could be gaining. Tim Palm seems to be struggling on his super soft tyres, one of the first guys to go onto the supers, so maybe he's just trying to save them tyres to get the car across the line. P8 looks to be where he would finish if Clarkey can get past him, as Curly has had a fantastic recovery drive, but it looks like unless Nardi has a complete crash, Curly would then take the championship. He needs to finish it, he needs 8th, and Curly would be ahead in the battle between him and Nardi. Over the King, a very consistent driver, has pulled out 1.3 seconds. Now 35 and 36, Michael enters his penultimate lap, one final time. Nardi picks up a penalty, which I think will just about, I think he should be okay for the podium. I'm not sure how many he has picked up. We'll keep a quick eye on that. The podium could change. He's got 2 penalties, unless Falcon has 2 penalties, which he does have 1, so he's hold on to position. Over the Kink is the way he's going, has no penalties. So if Over the Kink can get within 3 seconds, which he is 2 seconds shy of at the moment, he would be on the podium, and it would be a fantastic drive for him. We'll talk about driver of the day very, very shortly, but I'd imagine it's very limited with who really are the options of the way things are going at the moment. The nominees really are Michael, Flores, and Over the Kink. With the way Over the Kink has gone, you know, he had an okay qualifying. I think it's Flores. I think Flores deserves it. P5 at the moment, 7 positions gained. He's done a very good job. Michael, though, has come from 3rd to 1st and made his way through the field and done a very good job with what was handed to him. Nardi isn't gaining on as we hoped he would, and it looks like it's Michael as he comes through. For one final time, he'll start his lap, and for the final time on AOR PS4 F1, we will have a lap here on F1 2017. The season 15 is coming to an end, and what a season it has been. We've got a new champion. The German has come out on top. Germany versus Great Britain. It wasn't one on penalties, this one. It was one on just pure track pace, and Synthetic, the more consistent man, has come out on top. And Michael, he's going to come around now for one final time of Sector 1. He's had a very consistent drive. Vehicle Killer has got past Flores, who is really struggling now. What has happened to Flores? Has he got a puncture or something? No, it looks like he's just dropping. So maybe change the driver of the day shout at the moment. Tim Palm and Clarkey could get onto the back of this, and this could be a very, very dangerous battle and a dangerous situation for Flores here. Maybe we counted our chickens too early before they hatch. Flores is being chased down by Tim Palm. Is Tim Palm going to look for the manoeuvre up the inside? Flores is really struggling on the curbing there, and he's got a penalty, so this could drop him no matter what. But Tim Palm is all over his rear end. But we go on board with Michael, who has had an absolutely flawless-ish Grand Prix. He dropped down to 3rd earlier, but after Curly's mistake and getting past his VGIA teammate, he is going to win the final round here on AOR PS4. He wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. 3 seconds behind him is Nardi, with Falcon rounding out the podium. But we'll go on board with Flores, who is under pressure from Tim Palm and Clarkey as well. The Red Bull and Toro Rosso are putting him under pressure. It looks like he's going to hold out for Tim Palm with better slipstream and straight line speed. Flores moving all over the place, and Tim Palm is just about going to hold the position. It's a photo finish there. Flores with some questionable driving. He drops down to P8 no matter what. He swerves and moves around, neglecting the fact that Tim Palm and Clarkey could be involved in the crash behind him. It's a final finish with Over the Kink in 4th, Jiggle Killer in 5th, Clarkey 6th, Tim Palm 7th, 8th is Flores, 9th Curly, 10th is Sean covering for Alex, Cass is 11th, and Pasty in 12th. Curly will live a fantastic recovery drive, and he'll be very disappointed that he was unable to get the championship 3rd place that he was hoping for. But after all of that, the Ferrari of Michael wins the Grand Prix, and here are your classifications after that. We've had 36 laps of racing, a podium celebration now for the Ferrari. The Tifosi man will celebrate in style. The Greek man is on top with, I believe that is a really, really good performance from him, but I think we'll change around our driver of the day. It was Flores, but after the drop he just had, we're going to give it to Michael. A very good performance from 1st down to 3rd when getting himself back up into the top spot. Commiserations to Curly Whirly, who may well have won this Grand Prix if not for a mistake going onto the grass trying to get past Falcon for the lead. A good performance there. But here are your classifications. It's Michael who wins from Nardi in 2nd. 3rd place rounding out the podium is Falcon. He done a good job there. All the top 3 holding onto their positions. Over the Kink, the Dutchman, the highest man from the Netherlands in 4th. Deal Killer, he gets 5th. A good recovery drive from him, all things considered. Clarkey in 6th. Tim Palm in 7th. Flores had a really good start, and it looked like he could maybe get a podium here, but he ends up in 8th position after picking up 3 penalties, 9 seconds worth. Curly Whirly recovers from an earlier incident, dropping down to the back of the field. He's in 9th. Sean rounds out the top 10, picking up 1 solitary point. Cass, he comes home in 11th. Pasty in 12th. Synthetic, your champion, he crashed out. He crashed out in 13th, and then it was Sauber and McLaren. I'm going to try and quickly. It was Kian of the McLaren and the Sauber of. I'm trying to the other Sauber who qualified low down